I wanted to walk through a client transformation and talk about what we did and how we worked together and what changes she made in her life. So you can see the before and after and her incredible transformation during our time together in 2023. And I want to talk about her transformation because at the core of it is really this idea that we didn't make complete and total upheaval of her life, but all of the health, nutritional, and lifestyle changes that we made really started where she was at. And we started to build these changes into the life she currently had. And then transformation took place from there. So she didn't go from eating junk food and fast food and late night drinks and late night snacking to completely eliminating processed foods and eliminating alcohol and all that. Now, she wasn't that extreme in the beginning, but my point is that we didn't make insane amount of change at once. We slowly implemented things that worked for her lifestyle. What did Cathy want to accomplish? She really wanted to show her adult daughters that she could take care of herself, that she wanted to take care of herself. She quit smoking and she wanted to show them that she could also get healthy and create a healthy lifestyle. And she wanted to eliminate chronic disease, namely diabetes, which was prevalent in her family. But we also weren't going to, like I said, completely overhaul her life and try to eliminate things that just weren't realistic for her career, her job schedule, her family life. You know, the time she wanted to spend with her family and friends. But we implemented certain things that worked perfectly within her lifestyle. So, for one, we built out wholesome and fulfilling and satisfying meals. Cathy was not eating breakfast, and she was doing what we all tend to do, which is kind of power through the morning time with no food, but consuming copious amounts of coffee. Way too much caffeine, just pounding coffee with no food. And then getting to lunch unprepared with a wholesome meal and basically ravenous and just eating whatever was available. So we started out by thinking about her appetite, like gauging the appetite. You know, when do you start getting hungry? 8:30, 9:30, 10 o'clock. You know, a lot of people will use coffee to stave off an appetite. However, our body needs nutrients, and we actually need more nutrients from foods than we do caffeine from coffee. And starting off the day in the morning with a really good meal really dictates what you're eating throughout the rest of the day. So for breakfast, we focused on foods that she likes. That's another really important thing. When building out a health program and thinking about nutrition, it's important to focus on what you actually like to eat. So I have my clients make a list of all the foods you like to eat, and then we focus on those. We start building out meals from those. So breakfast, eggs, oatmeal, yogurt, these are some of the things that we started with. We started with 1 cup of coffee that we get to enjoy however we like it. And then when we start to get hungry, before that second cup of coffee, we then eat our breakfast. And this is also important to think about in terms of caffeine intake. I mean, why do we drink coffee? Right? Is to get energy. But when we feed our bodies wholesome foods, we get nutrients, which gives us that energy. And as we get older, the less we can cut back on caffeine, it actually is doing our bodies a service. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love coffee. I drink coffee, I enjoy it. However, I also know that it deeply impacts my ability to get deep sleep at night. So I actually stopped drinking caffeine at around noon, and I don't have any after that. But if you have an appetite and enjoy breakfast, making sure that you have some hard-boiled eggs, some oatmeal, some containers of like Greek yogurt is really important. So these are some of the staples that we added into her morning. Focusing on a high protein diet, protein forward, as I like to say. So every meal we think about getting minimum of 20 grams of protein. And then from there we build out fiber, carbohydrates, and just build out meals based on what we like, whether volume is important to us. So having a lot of food, if that's important and that's satisfying, we think about how to build wholesome meals from there. If we think about we really like savory or we really like more rich foods, then maybe we cut back on volume and focus on savory rich foods. It really is an individual choice, but it's worth experimenting with. So Cathy was able to eliminate a ton of that coffee and just focus on nutritious meals, which again really helped her with her sleep and energy levels towards the afternoon. And I know that sounds kind of opposite because we think, oh, we're hitting that coffee, we get those 3-4 p.m. crashes. But if you're building out wholesome meals and really paying attention to what's giving you energy and not draining your energy, you don't feel that need, and that coffee doesn't become this crutch, so to speak. So then we move on to lunch. And Cathy was always eating a salad, which is great. You know, fiber is very important. Protein, fiber, those are my number 1 and 2 when it comes to nutrients in meals. But Cathy was missing a significant amount of protein for lunch. And so without that protein, again, we get those crashes, we get those energy crashes because our body is craving those amino acids from that protein. We're craving certain things. That also brings on those cravings for the sweets and the heavy, starchy carbohydrates. And there's nothing wrong with those inherently. It's that when our cravings are so strong and when we're starving that we tend to overeat those and really not understand how much of that we're actually consuming. So we added a ton of protein to her lunches, and we did a variety, right? So at night, her husband is cooking meals, and I suggested, ask him if he can create meals for dinner that you can have 2 or 3 extra meals for your next day's lunch, which is great. You can use a slow cooker and just cook like a ton of chicken breast. Add that to a salad. Cans of tuna added to the salad. 2 hard-boiled eggs added to the salad. Sliced turkey added to the salad. Cheese. She's a big fan of cheese. Adding a little bit of cheese, it gives you a little bit of fat and you're getting some protein. So building out those wholesome meals. And then for dinner, what we did is we really started to cut back on the starchy carbohydrates that tend to be very calorically dense and at night if she was having a late dinner. So we did 2 things. Move up her dinner a little bit early, so she was eating more like 6 or 7 rather than 8 or 9. And then cut back on the pasta and the rice and the hamburger buns, let's say. And I'm not saying you have to totally eliminate those, and that's not what she did. In fact, she enjoys all of her favorite foods. She's just able to cut back on those, enjoy the foods, but not overeat and overconsume those highly dense foods. Pasta, rice, right? I love that her husband wants her to have a really enjoyable meal at the end of a long day. It's a time they share together. And for him, his expression of love and care is to give her a heaping bowl of homemade pasta and meat sauce. I love it. However, all of that pasta may not be the best choice when you're trying to create health and build out healthy habits. What Cathy did was served herself her own pasta, half a cup, just a single serving, and then more meat sauce. A half a cup of pasta, steamed vegetables and meat sauce, or a half a cup of rice, steamed vegetables and chili, let's say. But she was really continuing to focus on those protein forward meals, and at night thinking about, again, cutting back on those starchy carbohydrates. Walking. This is another thing that we implemented. Cathy was taking 20-minute walks, maybe like once or twice a day, which is amazing. Something we want to build up to as we become adapted to that, which she was. At a certain point, regular walking, 20 minutes is wonderful. But if we want to continue to challenge the body and to build our cardiovascular strength, what I thought would be cool, and she agreed, and we've implemented this, is adding ankle weights. So we added ankle weights and slowly increased the weight of the ankle weights. And then we also started implementing a backpack and throwing like a couple 2-3 pound weights inside of that. And so we're slowly actually building up to a resistance training program, but with a few weights at a time, because going from like 0 to 100 is not great. But gradually increasing those weights for her has been an incredible achievement. We also focused on being more food conscious. And this actually has a lot to do with our relationships with other people, and as some people like to call it, food enablers. So oftentimes in an office environment, in a place where you're working with others, a lot of treats will be brought in, right? Cookies for somebody's birthday, a pizza party for, somebody's leaving the office, etc., etc. And oftentimes these treats are just sitting in front of us all day. There's nothing wrong with treats. I love pizza. I love cookies. I mean, we're human, right? we should enjoy ourselves. One of the ways that helps us not overconsume these and still be able to enjoy these treats at work is to have a really good lunch, to have a really good breakfast. So this goes back to really creating wholesome meals, so you're not ravenous when these treats or like pizza party come along. Again, there's nothing wrong with this, and I love being able to celebrate with my coworkers and whatnot. But when I talk about food consciousness, I really think of what is going to taste good. Sometimes there's like a chocolate chip cookie and it's like, all right, I've had 1,000 chocolate chip cookies. Maybe I'm not going to have this chocolate chip cookie today. Do I really want it? Am I just bored? Am I thirsty? Am I really hungry? Or is it that, yeah, I'm going to have this one chocolate chip cookie and move on with my life? Not everybody is going to end up asking these types of questions. But some people do really struggle with making good food choices that are going to work for them and make their bodies feel good. And so when I talk about food consciousness, it's really just a matter of tapping into your body, seeing how you feel, seeing what works for you today. It may not be the same thing that works for you tomorrow. It's more just about awareness. And the more you become aware of how you're feeling and what you need in a certain moment, if you do struggle with making good food choices that make you feel good and energized and give you a general sense of well-being, asking yourself a couple of these questions is helpful. So one of the best things that came out of our coaching between Cathy and myself is not only her overall sense of well-being and how much strength she's gained and energy she's gained, but a really awesome part is that she's enjoying herself in a different way. And she said her self-esteem has improved and she's feeling more contented. And I wanted to mention that because I think a lot of this, and speaking with her, is true. It comes from gaining a better sense and understanding of yourself and making choices from a place of empowerment. And when it comes to building health, when it comes to wanting to lose weight or gain more energy or be able to sleep better, there are very specific lifestyle changes that we can do and implement in one's life that have a significant impact. Sometimes it's very hard to implement this right off the bat. Sometimes it is a gradual change and it's a gradual understanding and perspective of the self. But one of the best things that can come out of learning about yourself and learning how to build health within your personal life and experience is this greater sense of awareness of the self and understanding. And I think this is so beneficial because we can really acknowledge our needs and learn how to get those needs met in a way that is fulfilling. And that does give us a sense of happiness and joy within our life and in our bodies. And really at the end of the day, this is so important, if not the most important thing. I really encourage anyone who is curious about how to create health, how to build out a new type of health and wellness into your 40s and 50s to reach out and comment on this video. And I'm curious if there's anything that you're struggling with or have questions on, because I really think it's important that education be available for women and they be able to have a free and open and safe space to explore what's going to work for them. Like and subscribe. Thank you.